What was your worst childhood injury?
Okay. We got, both Janice and I, but I in particular, we got boils on our bottom, bad boils, and that were really debilitating. So they had to, and of course, I don't know what else they could have done. I really hardly ever did somebody take you to the hospital, and they had, that was before they had the clinics. Later on, they had the clinics that mom could take us in, or the younger ones in, and the boils were, I mean, that was like almost school age. And I started school early, so it would have been between 3, 4, 5 years old. And they had to, mom and my Aunt Mabel, it took 2 people to do it, had to put us in a tub kind of quarter full of very hot water. So it had to, because it had to, I don't know, somehow raise it or something like that. I don't know. And of course, after the first time, you know what was going to happen. Extremely painful, like the most painful thing I've ever experienced. And of course, I was strong, and I fought it pretty seriously. So they had to, my mom and my aunt had to really hold me down and do that. And of course, you're trying to lance this boil, and you have to sit in that hot water to raise it more. So that was uncomfortable, and you knew what was coming. So it's not pleasant. I did not go quietly into that dark night. I fought like crazy. But they had to do it. I mean, and then they'd lance it.
That takes the pain away pretty much.
Yeah, then you're sitting in the tub, so they can. It's not a real messy process, and of course they have to make sure everything's out, because otherwise So that was a very traumatic thing. Janice had it too, but I think I had it most, and it only happened like maybe 3 times, but it was a definite traumatic experience. Yeah, that was, and my situation, I had tonsillitis every winter and every spring, and it was debilitating as far as your tonsils would swell up so much that you couldn't even really talk. They were that bad. And I don't remember. I know 1 or 2 times they took us to the doctor so the doctor could do something to in your throat, but I don't remember much about that. And people didn't go to the doctors. You went to the drugstore and got some medicine most of the time. But that was something also that I would get that every winter for, I don't know, years. And made it, you really had to do it because you couldn't go to school if you had your throat issues. I don't remember exactly what they did, but they gave us medicine. It wasn't like the boils or anything, but the drugstore, we'd stop at the drugstore would give mom medicine, and after you took the whole bottle, which was not fun, but still, it would clear up. So.
The boil story, I just, as you were talking, remembered one. I can throw in a little humor. In the fire station, it's a pretty close family. So Ken Ferguson, this one guy that I worked with, off shift building houses and whatnot, he was at the station, and he was kind of squirming around in his seat, and he says, I've got a boil and I think it needs to be lanced. Do you guys want to do it? And so, yeah, everybody says, yeah, we'll do it. So we went and got a scalpel out of the first aid packet that we've got, and says, where do you want to do it, Ken? And so we walked into the beanery, he dropped his drawers, and we bent him over the table. And
Oh,
we got
gosh.
everything all ready like we're surgeons, you know. Had the 4x4s out, the bandages and the alcohol, wiped him down. Okay, hang on, Ken. Squeeze it.
Wow.
Put the pad on him,
Wow.
tape him all up. He says, thank you. This is so much better.
Right.
But that's
Wow.
a fire department crew. We could handle most anything. So, but anyway, first injuries or accidents. I had tonsillitis, but our doctor said, "Well, let's pull the tonsils out." And so, all three of us. Dean wasn't born then yet. So Don and me and Tina, we all went into the hospital at the same time, had our tonsils taken out, and recovered in a recovery room and went home. And that was it. And then they coached us into we could have ice cream afterwards.
Yes, which
And so
you couldn't
we had our
swallow.
tonsils taken out. We're in a recovery room. Nobody wanted ice
That's
cream.
right. You don't want to swallow anything.
Then
I remember that bribery
yeah,
too.
the bribery.
No.
Then when I was in the summer, I think after the 7th grade or 8th grade, I was at the 4th of July celebration in Oakville, and for some reason or another, everybody was walking around the horses and whatnot, and this horse decided to kick me. And I was right directly behind him, and he kicked me with both feet at the same time.
Oh,
And so
those
he
are
got
bad.
me right in the chest and on the shoulder, right here, and just threw me back about 15 feet. And I was, probably 7th grade. And so on my baseball T-shirt had a big horseshoe mark right here, and
Wow.
one here. So
Not for luck.
not for luck. And it was so bad that one of the guys, one of the coaches, took me into my doctor's office, and they did an X-ray and says, "Well, you've got a couple cracked ribs. We'd like to tape you." And I says, "No, we can't do that because Mom would see that, and she's just got through having a heart attack, and we didn't want to scare her." And so they never told my parents at all that I had been kicked by a horse. But that was really sore for a long time. And then when I was in
You see why we
sophomore-
think you guys are pussies? Like, what do you mean you want anesthesia? We don't do that. That's expensive. It costs money. You had no money then.
Let's see, when I was a sophomore in high school,
Yeah, that's a bad one.
I had ruptured appendix.
Oh,
And so
Yeah, that's
I
bad.
was helping my dad. We were building a barn at the time. And so I says, I just can't climb up this ladder. I just got something that's not right. And so the next day they took me and I had a ruptured appendix. And so I was in the hospital for quite a while.
Quite a while.
Yeah, almost a month,
Yep,
where they had holes cut in me and drain tubes and whatnot.
yep.
So that was one. Then between my junior and senior year, I had tried to cut my leg off with a skill saw. And so that
Crazy.
was another trip into the doctor's office. But at that time, we just go to the doctor's office. And
Right.
This, the typical old doctor's office. Where
Or
you
the
have-
drugstore.
Oh, yeah, a waiting room with all the people in there. I come in with a big cut across here on my jeans and red all around it, holding a towel over it, and got right in to the
Yeah.
doctor. And so him and his nurse, they just looked at it and said, "Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think we can sew that up." And so they put some hidden stitches and some stitches across the top, and so that was it. Got that taken care of, went back to work. But I did, it was in the summer, and so those were the surface stitches that look like, you've got the monster with his head sewed on or something across my leg. And so I was swimming down at Deep Lake, and it looked like, oh, look at him. He had his leg sewed back on.
Yeah.
But anyway, it didn't hurt the stitches, and I went swimming. Let's see, did I have any other after that?
I think other people must not have had those bad experiences because that's,
No, Grandma, they just died.
oh, okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's
I've
just,
had several trips to the emergency room.
yeah, you did. Yeah.